Hi there, welcome to episode 2 of the Easy Cyber website and podcast. Today we're going to be looking at the bad guys, who the hackers are, what they want, what the motivations are and what they're likely to do to you. So I guess the stereotypical hacker is the kid sitting in his bedroom surrounded by pizza boxes, Red Bull cans, that sort of thing, who's just sitting looking at ways to cause mischief and probably just trying out new toys, new bits of software to see what they can do. And that's probably the way that an awful lot of people learn. It's probably the way that an awful lot of people get into the business of cyber hacking. Some people then fall into the dark side and they do this for nefarious purposes, and others will turn their talents to doing good, to protecting other companies. So those lone actors, if you like, who are just playing with bits of code and perhaps finding bits of software that they can run, using what is known as the greatest tool there is in terms of free training, which is called YouTube. You might have heard of it. Most of the tools that these people use are available freely on the web, and training lessons for them in terms of how they use them and troubleshooting, etc., can all be found on YouTube. The next group of bad guys are ones you've also probably heard of, called hacktivists, and they do hacking for a reason. They're activists by another name, and the sort of two main groups that you may have heard of are Anonymous, the guys with the Guy Fawkes masks, and Lulzsec, who are kind of a splinter group of Anonymous. And they typically look for individual purposes, individual reasons. So it may be a protest against a particular company, or against a government, or against a bank, or anybody. They typically get together around a single cause, carry out attacks in the name of that cause, and then perhaps disband and then maybe start up again at a later date. You also have terror groups who use hacking tools. So ISIS, when they first started out, made a huge amount of use of social media and tried hacking into systems to get their message across. Organisations like the Syrian Electronic Army, the SEA, were also very active in terms of defacing government websites and other companies and attacking them. Organised crime is a massive player in the cybercrime market, and in terms of the hackers market. They have various cyber crimes as a service. In fact, they have various crimes as a service, all of which is now facilitated really by a capability around cyber. And so you can go to organised crime groups and you can pay for a service, which may be you just want to buy an exploit to access a particular company, or to access a particular type of system. You can find somebody on the dark web, which the dark web is something that we'll talk about in a future podcast. But you can find that information fairly easily, and it's not very expensive to do either. Although there is an issue around trust, and you need to build up trust to be able to buy some of these services. Industrial espionage, yes, it goes on. Probably not in all businesses, but if you have a look at things like the pharmaceutical industry, where it costs millions and millions of pounds to develop new drugs, you can understand why some companies might want to shortcut that by trying to get access to another company's data, to get access to their research, to get access to their formulas. So industrial espionage does go on. It is very hard to stop for some companies, because some people really want the information that another company has. State-sponsored hacking is also very prevalent. At the moment there are well over 100 nation states which engage in hacking each other, in trying to get access to information around contingency plans for what happens if there's an attack, what happens if a part of the national infrastructure is disabled, etc., etc. And perhaps the best known example of state hacking or state-sponsored intrusion is the US F-35 fighter plane and the Chinese J-31 fighter plane. Look very similar, and they were launched at around about the same time. and there's little doubt that the plans for one were stolen by one country and copied. There's a final group of people which tend to be around individuals who aren't script kiddies, they're not hacktivists, and they include people like journalists who try to get access to information because news sells, right? And you also get people who are known as grey hat hackers. So perhaps worth just spending a moment talking about the different hats that hackers wear. The bad guys who are up to no good wear black hats, and this all comes from the old 1950s cowboy westerns, which you used to get see on matinees at a weekend, or you did when you're my age. So the bad guys always wore black hats, and the good guys always wear white hats. So white hat hackers are also known as ethical pen testers, or ethical hackers, ethical penetration testers. And the main difference between them and the black hats is that the ethical guys have written permission from their client to carry out the testing that they do, to try to find out what information they can get access to. Now, they use exactly the same tools as the black guys, but as the black hats, but the key difference is that they have written permission. Grey hats kind of sit in between, where they think that they're doing good by identifying weaknesses and then going to companies to say, we found this weakness, we can charge you a small amount of money, we'll tell you what it is and how to fix it. Technically speaking, they're breaking the law, and it's a tricky area for them to be in, really. So that's really a quick rundown on the bad guys. There's a little bit more about it on the Easy Cyber website, and I'll include the link in on the website, which details will be about here again. And the next episode is all about the cloud and what you can do to secure yourself on that. So I hope you'll join me for that, and I'll catch up with you soon. Thank you very much for watching.